What's up, everybody? It's Joe with J Blake Photo, fresh off the heels of my Drobo unboxing. I haven't even edited that video yet. I literally just finished putting this thing together. It's actually on right now, doing a bunch of file transfer stuff. So if you hear a bunch of fan noise in the back, that's because the Drobo and the eGPU and everything is running at full capacity back there. So sorry about that. But anyway, the reason that I wanted to hop on and make a video really quick was because Blackmagic has announced a new pocket cinema camera. This one's a 6K, and I thought we could just take a look at it. Okay, so some of you might be asking, what is a pocket cinema camera? Who is Blackmagic? Blackmagic is this company that just makes just crazy weird stuff. It's different. They make just a lot of really great stuff. Check out their website. I'll link it down below. But they just make some great stuff. And a while back, they came out with this thing called the Pocket Cinema 4K. They may have just called it the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema, because there wasn't anything other than the 4K at the time. And this is a really cool and kind of interesting camera. It had a micro four thirds sensor. It could shoot in ProRes and Blackmagic RAW. It had a big 5-inch LCD, touch LCD in the back. There were some things about it that weren't amazing, but the dynamic range was really good. The quality of the video was great, and it was cheap. It was like $1,500 when it was first announced. So really just kind of a cool and quirky and kind of interesting thing for people who are really looking for that high-end cinema look. Could get away with shooting in a micro four thirds environment, maybe had that kind of those lenses already, and was really looking to do some high-end cinema quality video. I've got some friends that tinkered around with it, and it's a cool camera. So now today, they've announced a new version in the Pocket Cinema family, the Pocket Cinema 6K. And so now the Pocket Cinema 6K sits next to the 4K as kind of its bigger brother. Built almost on the exact same frame. Everything kind of looks the same. It's kind of weird looking. It looks like an old film camera from the 90s. But now they've gone from a micro four thirds camera or a micro four thirds sensor to a what's called a Super 35. Super 35 is very similar in size to an APS-C. And because it's got the larger APS-C sensor, they were able to change the mount from micro four thirds to Canon EF. So that means that EF lenses that a lot of us have, especially if we've been shooting Canon for a while, will go on this lens or will go on this camera. So the Cine lenses from Canon, the L primes, L zoom lenses, and even, especially if you're looking to do this on a bit of a budget, even the kind of entry and mid-range lenses from Canon will be available to you. Now, it even says it on the website. With a 6K res, you can actually use that additional resolution for things like reframing in the event that you didn't like the initial framing, just overall improvement in sharpness if you want to keep all the data and just scale it down, or stabilization. It's covered with controls that are customizable. There's actually some really cool stuff that you can do here. It also has the ability to shoot in dual ISO, so you get super high dynamic range. They're boasting 13 stops of dynamic range, which is really good for a camera like this, especially at this price point. And it'll actually shoot at 6K at 50 frames per second. So it's 6144 by 3456 and 6:9. It'll shoot in anamorphic, and there's a bunch of different frame rates and sensor or resolution options that you can select that let you kind of say, okay, I want exactly this, I want exactly that, to really kind of do it how you want. It really does feel more like a cinema camera in terms of giving you all these options versus what you find, out of a more traditional consumer camera that a lot of us are using at this price point. It's also shooting up to 4K in 10-bit ProRes. So in this camera that is $2,400, you can shoot 10-bit 4K ProRes. That's awesome. You can also shoot up to 6K using the Blackmagic RAW format, and that's in 12-bit. So super deep color data there. And it's a pro camera, so it's got dual card slots. It's shooting on an SD card UHS-2 or a CFast card. Both cards will support all the RAW formats. And really, this is just a very versatile camera with a lot of really cool options. You can also, using the USB-C port, you can actually attach an external storage device and just record straight to that. So this thing can be kind of an on its own device, or it can just be strapped up into a full-on rig. It's got full-size HDMI out, it's got 12-volt DC power, it's got USB-C, it's got XLR, it's got headphone jack, microphone jack, and the HDMI port will do full 10-bit and HDR out. And while you're recording, you can actually use 3D LUT files so that you can actually pre-apply maybe a specific look, a cinematic look that you're going for onto your footage. And you can either choose to have it baked in or not, and you can view it on the screen, even though what you're going to end up with when you actually go to edit is going to be a flat logarithmic looking clip like you're used to, but it'll give you the option to preview it on the monitor like the LUT that you're going to be using when you edit. So anyway, I just think that this thing is just kind of weird and niche and interesting, and it's got some cool features. And now with the APS-C size Super 35mm sensor, that really becomes interesting. And especially if you're doing short films, documentaries, really anything where you want a cinematic look on a low budget, $2,500, this thing is going to be really interesting to play with. I'm kind of curious how quickly I'll be able to rent one, because I really kind of want to play with this thing. So anyway, so if you're interested in this camera, go ahead and throw some info down in the comments below. If you've used the Blackmagic 4K cinema camera, I'm super curious to hear about how that went for you. Go ahead and put that in the comments as well. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and all that, and I'll see you in the next video.